Slick. All right, we're going to call our regular council meeting to order Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, 5 p.m. Request you turn your cell phones down or off, and we'll get a roll call, please.
Here. Here. Here.
Here, please stand, take your hat off, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing, please.
Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day and thank you for your many blessings, Lord. And we just ask that your wisdom would be granted to the council tonight as they discuss all the issues for the affecting the future of this city. And so we just seek your wisdom and give you thanks and praise for your guidance in Jesus' name.
All right, thank you, John. All right, I'm going to make an announcement before we move on. Tonight, this council will not be discussing the town of Beloit contract. It's not on the agenda, and it's in this open meeting anyway, before or after the meeting. Town of Beloit meets tonight as of now. We are under contract with them. When and if we get a notice of termination from them, then we will prepare for our next step. Even then, whatever happens at their meeting, we have one more year to change or do whatever we have to do in that year. And so that's why it's not on our agenda. It's not on the agenda tonight. So we'll move on. All right, public comment. Stand, give your name, raise your hand, please, and I'll call on you.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. Well, approval of agenda. Give me a minute here. Motion.
So move. Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, now Josh then, please.
All right, my name's Josh Lloyd. Here to talk about the fire department again. Seems like for the last year we've kind of been saying we don't have a problem, and at least in this room, and it's sounding like another town is saying that we do have a problem, and so much of a problem that they can't fulfill their contract at all. We have to have a plan for this. We got to manage this. I know that you say a fire department didn't work here, but an intergovernmental agreement didn't work here either. So we can't just keep saying things don't work. We have to do something. We have to actually manage the situation. There's been a lot of situations that I don't think were managed, even the list. I don't think that we had an accurate list. And one thing that's coming up now is a lot of things that are going on in there. And something I'm hearing as a citizen is that building was hit with an engine. Now we have an engine out, and we have building repair to do. And it's things like that are the reasons why we need to manage the situation. We need to have our hands in it. We need to have our ears in it, and we need to have our eyes on it. So wherever we go from here, I hope that we keep that logic in mind. And also, Chiefs had said in here that we needed 5 to be adequate for a town this size. If we can't go out and get 5, I hope that our plans include how we're going to get there in the future. Because this all started for me by thinking that I was getting what was adequate because I was paying my taxes. I didn't know there was a problem. Once I did know there was a problem, I couldn't get anybody else to agree with me in here that there was a problem. So please keep this all in mind as you move forward.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Raise your hand. Okay, now moving on. We get approval of minutes for regular council meeting held August 18, 2025. Motion, please.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, report of officers, finance, approval of claims for August 16th through 29th, 2025 for the amount of
$1,051,077.87. I will note it's a larger than normal payment due to our semi-annual payment for the IEPA loan in the amount of $761,281.01. Motion.
So moved. Second.
Tracy, please.
Mr. Edelman?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson?
Yes.
Mr. Morris?
Yes.
Mr. Prentice?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes, attorney's report.
All on the agenda.
All on the agenda? All right. Okay, report from our city Staff, okay?
I can take that for you, Mayor. I just have two quick things. I want to let everyone know that we are going to be scheduling 2 public input meetings for our OSLAD grant that is due at the end of September. So stay tuned. Brandon and I narrowed it down to 2 days just today. We're going to get those promoted and make sure that the confluence is available. One will be just at the end of the normal workday. One will be in the middle of the workday. So try to offer a couple different times. But if you're interested in that program at all, in the efforts that we have in queue for that grant, please come and listen, and Brandon and I will be about to navigate through any questions we have. And then also, I just want to say that the city has another position that will be posted. We just got it posted last week. We may have an internal candidate. If we do that, I want to remind the public that our positions are posted on our city's webpage and also on Indeed as our primary
This
platform.
is to replace somebody, not creating a new position, correct?
Correct. We have someone spreading their wings. It's amazing, but we will have to fill that seat, sadly. Our regular clerk will be leaving us.
All right.
But that's all that I have for an update, and then Jeff will prepare our wastewater quarterly report.
I always start with the flows. I want to point out, one of the big things to point out is we maxed out to 3.4 million gallons.
Sign you.
Recall, usually around 1.8 to 2 million gallons. This happened when we had the heavy rains here this last month. It is going away fairly quickly. I know a lot of people say, well, groundwater or whatever. It's really probably some pumps, as I've pointed out, there's a problem in town. The ground's extremely dry, especially subgrade. So keep that in mind as you see that in the future. Huber was in, fixed our flock mixer for our sludge press again. This will be the 6th time that this has gone on, still carrying the warranty. We've been running it for about 2 weeks now with flawless problems. That has made me fairly happy because it usually broke within a week. Completed the semi-annual sludge report. We're still waiting on 4 airflow meters. There's 6 total. At one point in time, I only had 1 of them working. We then got one back, and within 2 days, one of them failed again. We can program it to just run off of a set air. By the airflow meters, will tell how many CFM is going through, and that allows us to control it. It will save electricity. We can modulate the blowers better. So we're trying to get those back. They have to go out to California to get looked at and find what's wrong with them. Most of them have had power board failures. I'm hoping to get them back in the next 2 weeks. The fine screens that we had worked on in the spring are working very well. We haven't had any problems with them. We are struggling with phosphorus treatment, which is one of the nutrients that we remove out of the wastewater. Just in the last month or so, it's been a real problem. We haven't seen the levels come up in what's coming through the plant. We're really struggling with the biology to get things to straighten around. I would suspect as we cool down, we'll start seeing it come back around. Last year I struggled a little bit. It's been a little tougher to go this time around. We got our weeds all under control at the treatment plant. We got a new mower for the tool cat, so instead of buying a new lawnmower, we bought a mower deck that attaches to our tool cat, which is a bucket and forks also. We'll continue to get attachments for that instead of trying to maintain extra engines and things of that sort. We have where our phosphorus testing goes through a chem scan unit. We've had trouble with the chem scan unit and with the pump skid. We're working on both of those problems. One is not directly related to the other, but we're really struggling as the company with the chem scan units moved from Wisconsin in by Milwaukee, which was easy to get them here, to Colorado, which now seems virtually impossible. Evidently, we don't have people between here and there that can figure it out now. And I'm working on a proposal for some kind of metering for swimming pools. I don't have it put together. When I do have it put together, I'll have it here for a presentation so we can talk about some kind of a deduct meter come next spring for swimming pools. And swimming pools are the first thing, but also then those the private wells, proposal with what we can do there, and moving forward, depending on how big we want to get and how expensive it could get. I'm getting new prices pricing to go with what I had before. We're working on land locations for our sludge permit. That's the only thing that's holding it up from being approved. And we have not had any significant sewer backups, calls for service in the last 3 months, which for a little while there we were getting them pretty regularly, and it's been pretty quiet as of late now. We don't want to start that, but we're always here if somebody needs something. And we replaced the jetter hose as it had been damaged and was the outside lining was exposed, and I was a little bit concerned about blowing out with the guys using it 90 gallons a minute at 1800 psi. That can really cause somebody some serious injury, so we got that taken care of right away. And that is my report for tonight. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I'm not a big favor of hearing you say broken, not working on a $36 million sewer. I just don't like hearing that.
But keep in mind, with sewer plants, the
I know,
worst and the nastiest of everything comes through to us, so it's not going to last forever. But we have had experienced our fair share or more, and we continue to work at it and get things straightened out. I do feel like when we run into these problems, we seem to be getting them in a better situation, except for maybe the Huber. Now, keep in mind that Huber problem with the sludge press is all on them. We haven't invested any money in that to this point over the last 3 years. So,
All right,
if they got it right, then we'll be in good shape.
that was just my comment.
So, I appreciate it.
We got, I see Carrie's here. Can we want to move that up in our agenda?
Oh,
Because we got,
We approve the agenda as is.
can we amend it from now?
We can,
We can probably do what we want, can't we? Or do we have to?
she's here for item F, Mayor, if you want to ask her.
Do-
if you want to move
Make a
to
motion to move
hear that
item-
early, sure.
Yeah, make a motion to,
Move item F up to item A, to hear the item F first in the agenda.
Would you also like to move under correspondence the MS4 permit to the bottom of the agenda?
Sure, let's do that, yeah.
yeah, because,
So
I mean, these are long-winded stuff in the meantime, so if, get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're moving it up. I'm gonna read it here first. Discuss approve the request for the corridor planning and feasibility study in amount of not to exceed $30,000 for corridor planning, and that will be, get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right, Carrie, please.
Thank you, council. Today I'm here as Executive Director of Beloit 200. Beloit 200 is a private civic organization that I've been the Executive Director for 3 years. I'm a volunteer. And we have been working at Beloit 200 on our next big project. It was brought to my board in September last year. We closed out a $100 million housing project in Beloit, and we are looking for our next big project. So we decided to approach partnering with South Beloit to help with the new garden site and the corridor there. And we've been working with staff on just helping with advice, bringing in resources. We collaborate with the city of Beloit, and we've kind of gotten to a place now where we're really excited that we're starting to work on how do we bring our city of South Beloit back to life, and how do we start driving an economic town that drives revenue and all the things that we need for all the things that you're talking about today, our fire department, sewers, all of that. And so that's what Beloit 200 is known for. We've been doing this since 1989. So today we have decided to go down two main paths, and we've hired one group to do a master plan study of what could be possible to put where the garden site is that would drive economic tax revenue to the city of South Beloit. We've hired Smith & Group to do that. We are a nonprofit. Our money is all private donors, which are usually local businesses that all contribute to help grow our economy. So we've paid that that bill right now to Smith Group, $50,000. And then the Hunden Group, we have contracted about possibly bringing a sports complex, a competitive sports complex. If you do a lot of analyzing of small cities that need an identity and a tax-based revenue, we've seen huge transformations in cities that can bring tourism with a sports complex. And we're looking at the casino being developed and triggering right off of that casino and the tourism. We want those tax dollars in South Beloit. So we need to do these studies to actually find out if the business is viable. It may not be, it may be this is what we do, and we'll take our time to do it right. So we're approaching the city of South Beloit to ask if you would partner with us. We're giving you all of our time and our resources for free, but these bills are quite large. I did talk to my board. One of the things that Beloit 200 really, really needs from you guys is we need a 10-year strategic plan for the city. Most cities have that. We work with Beloit. They always have theirs. And what that does is it creates a public and private partnership so that as we're investing a lot of money and a lot of time in the city, as council changes, as managers change, that there is a plan of continuity that goes for the next 10 years. So the work that has been done, has been paid for, doesn't all of a sudden go to the wayside. So today I had been talking to, well not today, but I talked to the board about, instead of asking you for the $30,000, if you could contribute $10,000 towards the studies that we're paying for, if you can commit to do the 10-year strategic plan for the city of South Beloit. I know you went to bids for this before, and they came in between $18,000 to $20,000. If you guys can go move forward with that initiative and hire someone, then Beloit 200 would happily just ask for $10,000 to contribute towards these big projects. And then one last thing, and I'll take questions, is this is all really big planning. And so this isn't going to go to public and comments yet, but it will get there at some point. So right now, this is how we work as a Beloit 200 organization, is we spend a lot of money to get you resources to one day hand this over to you. We're a facilitator, and then you guys go through all your protocols of public forums and meetings to find out if it's the right move for the city of South Beloit. So that's how we work and partner with the city. So any questions or comments that I can answer?
I'm all in favor of anybody that wants to do something with that site there that brings revenue into South Beloit. I mean, that's why we spent the money to tear that hotel down, was so that somebody would bring revenue into South Beloit. And I suppose a study is probably the way you got to start. And it's the way anything starts, is a study on it. I have no problem with 10,000.
No, I'm incredibly appreciative of Beloit 200 and you, Carrie, for helping push us along. So, 10,000, easy.
Okay. All right, we're good.
So it's on the agenda for 30, so do we need
We have to make an,
Yes, we will.
we have
And
to,
then, can you guys address the city strategic plan that we need as well?
I can comment on that.
all right, go ahead.
So the last time we discussed as a group having a strategic plan done, we sort of did a grassroots effort at this table where department heads poured in and sort of got the steam rolling. We haven't put it out for bid, but we did talk to NIU's Department for Governmental Studies, and that was probably 2 years ago-ish. Does that sound right? Anybody? 2 years ago-ish. And that was about an $18,000 project area, and they were going to charge $5,000 more to do a really in-depth, surveys and community feedback, and talk to all the business owners and reach out to lots of residents and do all the things. So it was somewhere in that 18 to 25 was the cost of that. So I can get that polished off. We can put it out for bid, and we could put that on our capital list for 2026. That would be our plan to approve.
Right, we couldn't take an action on the strategic plan tonight, but you can move to amend
Right.
the amount to not to exceed 10,000, and you can vote on that tonight.
Get a motion to amend the asking price from 30 to 10,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we get a motion to, second. Tracy?
Mr. Edelman?
Yes.
Mr. Henderson? Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Prentice?
The council, since I'm involved with Beloit 200, should I abstain from this?
No. Why should you abstain?
If you feel there's a conflict,
He doesn't vote. So he doesn't vote at Beloit 200, he's a member, so that would be the question.
I'm just asking if I should.
just a number.
Okay.
So he's abstaining?
Safer to abstain.
At this point, yeah, just.
All right, a yes for me, so it's 4-0. All right, okay, thank you, thanks, Karen, you bet.
Thank you, Gary.
I know. All right, now we get to the other stuff. Discuss approve ordinance 2863, amending section 106, 160 wastewater service charges on Division 4 service charges and Article 3 sewers and sewage disposal of Chapter 106 utilities of the City South Beloit Code of Ordinances regarding rates of service. Motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Okay,
Do you want me to take this one?
yeah,
Okay.
And Jeff, very helpful.
Okay. This is the approving the sewer rate increase. This is just the actual text amendment to the ordinance itself. Fairgram weighed in on the sewer rates and the calculation to make sure everything was correct. This will be retroactive to yesterday, September 1st, 2025. You had an increase already scheduled for yesterday, September 1st. So this will just make this increase to the amount that the council agreed on with the seven-year rate increase.
okay, what I'm reading here is it goes from 926 to 1040, is that correct?
Yes, that's for the monthly rate based on cubic feet. And
But-
then the monthly rate based on gallon measurement will go from $12.34 to $13.90.
If you'd like, Mayor, Jeff is prepared to talk about all the different types of meters that Illinois American Water at one point has used. Also, the rates are, again, based on whether people are metered or whether they have a well. So there's a handful of different rates.
Okay, so over the years, American Water has had many different types of metering systems. Excuse me. They meter in cubic feet, in gallons, in 100 gallons, and in 100 cubic feet were the general ones they use. So that's 4 of them. So we performed the change so that we could bill it by the gallon or by the cubic foot. The cubic feet are based off of gallons anyhow, so you can convert it back and forth with an easy chart that you can pull up on the internet, even if you wondered what would be one or the other. The real one that really probably hurts people the most is the unmetered ones. We have a lot of unmetered ones who have their own wells, private wells within the city. Some of them are hand-pounded point wells from way back when. That was a pretty common thing to do, especially when the groundwater was close by. To the top of the soil service. And that's part of the reason they want me to get the some kind of a meter program in front of you to start trying to put something together so that those people who have wells, if they want to help pay to get a meter in there, we can read it every month and give them a true reading instead of a guesstimate. I'm sure that the people, where there's 1 or 2 in the house, are probably on a well are probably not using as much as we're billing for, but I'm also sure that there's a lot of them where there's 3, 5 people in the house. It could be completely different. That's kind of where we get those rates and why we have to have 2 different rates. They both equate to the same number. I usually like to equate them to how much per gallon. So when you think about a gallon of water, you go buy a gallon of water in the store. That's what we're breaking it down to, which, by the way, is far less we're treating a gallon far less than what it costs to buy a gallon of water in the store. So that cleared it up a little bit.
So you're saying that your, the unmetered ones, you know,
We're just using an average of what we think they could be using.
are we trying to change that at all?
If I can get a meter program put together and get it to you, and you want to, and the residents who have wells want to aid in the installation cost of putting a meter in, I'm willing to read those meters monthly so that they would have an actual meter reading that we could install in there.
They did that in Janesville though, didn't they? I think they did, yeah, I know
It's
people.
not super difficult. It takes, you know, it takes some plumbing in their house, and it takes some work, and once we've got it done, if we get the program that's right for us and everything, I mean, there's a real cost there. I think it was $300,000 to get started the last time. It's probably more now, because I think that was way back before COVID, so.
But it would drop, a person that lives by themselves, they're using minimal.
Yeah, you know, it'll drop it significantly for
Yeah.
those people. The other ones maybe not as much, but
Yeah.
you're then paying for what you're using. And we're gonna work to try and get something to present to the council here to make a decision on.
I know.
I'm sorry to do this. I've looked at this 100 times, and now I'm realizing that this is only over a 6-year span. The schedule is only going through 31. It should go to 32 to accomplish a 7-year span. So we are going to have to lay this over so that we can.
Okay. All right. Get a motion to lay this over? Second? Well, we can't vote on it because it's not right.
When you have the 2025 and 2026,
So a year from now gets us to this date in 26,
yeah,
27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Should
it'll
go
get you to September 1st of 2032.
Or August. Oh, because we're only doing it annually.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Was this just putting out the 7 years for the next kind of time the council looks at the rate increase?
Yeah, so Fairground, when they were here and did their study, they recommended every 3 years reviewing our rates. I would be surprised if 7 years gets us 5 years from now. I mean,
Right.
if all of our finances are glowing and, you know, the state of the world doesn't increase more
Right.
than a normal pace, then hopefully we ride this 7-year schedule out. But 3 to 5 years is likely. And we went a lot of decades without raising our increases, and that's why we're in the low brain, but.
And that's kind of where I'm going with what I'm getting ready to say next. I know we settled on 7, and I'm fine with that, but I get to the point where I almost feel as though each council should have to be making the decision as to what the sewer rate looks like, right? You know what I mean?
We shouldn't go 20 years again.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Because we can always sit and say, let's review it next year, we're going to review it in 7 years. Well, then the next council will get here, you know what, I don't want to increase the rate because I don't want to make that unpopular decision. I think that we need to get it to a point where each council needs to look at this and make a decision for the city on a more timely schedule. Whether, I just think 7 years is too long. You say yourself, we'll never get there.
Don't we need to prove that we can pay for that loan?
So we have to have a rate schedule and amount to get to so that we can have a chance at getting the low interest loan through there.
Yeah, otherwise we don't get the loan. If we don't have it, we
What's
don't.
that timeline?
So we could do 5 years if you wanted to, but that changes this amount and it accelerates it that much faster. Right now, 7 was the reason for that.
Okay.
And Brandon can speak a little bit to the timeline, but I think we're, spring, we
So,
would hope to be able to.
yeah, so in order to go after the loan, we have to have our funding nomination forms in by March 31st, I believe. It's definitely in March.
Okay.
At that point, later that fall, you figure out if you were awarded, if you were selected, and if your project is going to receive funding, or if you're on a bypass list, which is basically the projects that didn't get funding but still scored well and can get supplemental funding if it comes available, or if any of the projects on the intended funding list don't move forward for whatever reason, they then transfer that money to the bypass list. But for the timeline, March 31st is when we have to have our funding nomination forms in by, and at that point we would need to prove that we can pay for the improvements that we're seeking.
I guess you guys are going in a little bit different direction than where I was going with what Ryan was saying. Is there a way for us to make sure that this gets looked at every 4 years, 5 years, or whatever. Is there a way for us to do that as a municipality so that, again, something doesn't happen like the situation that we're in now where it's gone all these years and nobody's ever dealt with it? Is there a way to put something together?
If you're looking for, does your staff have the capabilities of reviewing this on a regular basis?
No. I'm talking about something on paper in our documents that says, listen, this needs to be reevaluated every 4 to 5 years. Because we were put in a situation that other people kept kicking down the road. So is there a way to make this something that said that they can't kick it down the road so that you don't get a future council? I don't know if that's possible. And that doesn't have to be answered tonight.
Yes.
That's outside of this vote, but that's,
I think generally speaking, you do a budget every year. The sewer is an enterprise fund, so it's a separate process of its own. As soon as it starts operating in the red, or you need what was a $4 million project is now a $7 million project 5 years later. In order to borrow, you have to justify your risk.
that's not
what came up
forcing,
because of that.
that's not
No.
forcing the council's hand
You
to
want to be, you
reevaluate.
want to be
Well,
foresight of being.
I'd like, again, we were put in a situation that was just, not manageable. So can we put something on paper that says, hey, listen, this, council needs to reevaluate, these rates on a timely fashion? I don't know. if
That's a
possible.
responsibility, that's a responsibility.
It is, but it was kicked down the road
Yeah, I
for
know.
how many councils? and
Well,
how
I
many
know
years?
it, but that's,
So that's my point. Can we put something, and again, that's outside of this vote.
And the council.
I just don't know if it's possible.
we'll have to talk legally.
Yes, so
Legally, we gotta figure out how we can put something in our ordinances to make sure it's
Can we
checked.
just turn this over to legal, have them give
Yeah.
it?
All right, so for now, we
Bring it
can
back
lay
to
this
another-
over.
And
So you
No, we
don't-
got, this is not laying over.
Yeah.
This is separate, that's all separate. That's what we're doing, is making sure that people that come in after us, make sure that they stay vigilant of what, the funds that are in there, because we can't,
I wasn't sure that all the years were included to get us to 7, but we moved to only have the increase happen one time a year instead of quarterly throughout the year.
Yeah,
So
instead
the
of 4
schedule
times a
does
year.
cover-
It does get us to 7.
Does get us to the 7-year schedule.
all right, everybody okay with that? All right, Tracy, please.
Commissioner Heatherington? Commissioner Morse?
Yes.
Commissioner Prentice?
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes. Brian, if you voted no, why did you vote no?
No, I don't want to increase it, I don't think we should be doing this.
A no vote is simply kicking it down the road. It's a show of pandering. It's fine.
Okay,
Put that on the record.
I don't care what you guys call it. I'm not putting this on the backs of these citizens again. We got rim riding when we got sewer.
discuss approve ordinance 2864, amending various provisions of Article 2, evacuations and sections of 302, regulation and small water facilities, on Article 7, small water facilities, Chapter 86, streets, sidewalks, other public places, and amending sections 192, evacuations of Division 5, building sewers, connections of Article 3, sewers, sewage disposal, and Chapter 106, utilities and City of South Beloit ordinances. Motion.
Second.
Mayor, I think Brandon.
Brandon, okay,
So,
you're next up.
if you guys have heard or if you've noticed, there has been a large fiber optic installation push in the region. From what we can tell, it's federal, state grants pushing the broadband access. So we're getting a lot of permit applicants that are wanting to come and build in the city. Our current code of ordinances does not really have standards dictating how that construction should happen, where those facilities should be located, the depth of them. There are, federal standards and state standards, but if you go into any local municipality, generally, they have standards dictating how construction is supposed to happen. Not just fiber optic, but all utilities, all underground work. So what staff did is we came with a recommendation to approve some standards. Our standards were actually modeled off of the Village of Roscoe ordinances substantially, which I also work for them. It seems to be working pretty well. I I believe their code of ordinances was drafted off an old IML recommendation, so Illinois Municipal League. So the document that you have in front of you is what would essentially become standards for constructing in the right-of-way of any utilities. We have a lot of applications coming in. We haven't been able to just hold those off, so we've just been doing best practices as we have for the past handful of years as fiber comes in. But we really think that we need to have some standards for construction in our right-of-ways, and we would like to see.
Do they pay a utility tax?
I do not believe under fiber optic they pay utility
Why?
tax. I do
I
not
mean,
know.
anybody else that digs in our property, you know, digs in our property, they pay a utility tax.
Cable installation, that's my understanding, yes, that they do pay the telecommunications tax. My understanding, and this was from Village of Roscoe's legal team a couple of years ago, is that the fiber optic is not applicable to that.
Yeah, but it's our property.
They report to the ICC, and the ICC says that we cannot charge them a franchise.
Correct, but they do pay other fees. You'll see they have a permit fee in here.
Yeah, but that's a one-time fee. We want, I mean, with anybody else that digs in, you know, the water company that comes through, the Illinois Water, or the power company comes through, they pay a utility tax for us, and we have to re-up every 7 years. I think that theirs should be no different than anybody else. If you're gonna put your stuff on our property, they should be paying taxes to us.
What I'll say is this ordinance allows you to charge everything you are allowed to charge under state statute. You're also getting a couple of entities that came in and gave a proposed ordinance from their legal team for what they would want South Beloit to pass. So having this in place makes it so they don't give their own proposed ordinance. That is to their benefit. This protects you.
Well, this protects us, I understand it, but I still don't understand why we're not getting paid for it. You know, I mean, I remember sitting up here and we're voting when we get $250,000 out of Illinois Water every year that pays us, and these people come in with their fiber optic, put it right next to the Illinois Water and don't pay a dime. Pay a permit fee. I don't think that's right. Me spouting off again, okay.
No, it is frustrating. They do have a lot of protections. They've actually also inherited a lot of federal funding to make sure that fiber can get spread all over the country. We are upping our ordinance, Mayor, as.
Well, this protects us, I understand.
Many protections, if damage is done, that was.
I have no question about this. I know, and I read it, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I read it, and when I got done with it, I thought, what did I just read? But it's, when I read it, that's the first thing come to my mind. I didn't see nothing on there. Okay, never mind. Go on, move on. We got a motion and a second? All right. Please.
Yes.
Yes, discuss approve ordinance 2865, approving real estate contract for the purchase of the sale regarding the property located at 910 Ingersoll Place, South Beloit, Illinois. And we get a motion.
So moved. Second.
And this was sale to property down there that we were cutting forever, and we're selling it to, I guess, one of the Bridens, I guess. They're going to make a parking lot out of it, which,
Yes, that is correct.
okay, that's what I read
It's too
anyway.
small to be built on, Mayor.
Two, yeah, you can't build on it, it's in a floodplain, so.
And we don't have to mow it.
We don't have to mow it anymore, so it's a win for us. Tracy, please.
Commissioner Prentice?
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman?
Yes.
Commissioner Heatherington?
Yes. Commissioner
Morris?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes, discuss approve resolution 6635, approving grant agreement for the law enforcement camera grant. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Chief, please.
This is a grant I applied for the Illinois Attorney General's Office. It's to help us pay for our healthcare cameras, and we received $16,000.
Yeah, it's good you guys keep up on that, because that 16,000 that we'd be putting out, that's excellent, and you bring that up a lot, so what grant money's out there, we like to be involved in, you know. So. Anybody else? Tracy, please.
Commissioner Edelman?
Yes.
Commissioner Heatherington?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Yes, we're going to retire this executive session. Wait a minute, what I, oh yeah, we moved that, didn't we?
We have two.
Two more.
You
D
did
is a
D,
second
we
grant.
have E.
What?
Item E.
You just did D.
It's
we
another
also need to
grant.
do E.
I just did E, okay. Item, discuss item resolution 6635, approving grant, that's what I just read.
We have two.
There's two. D and E are similar.
Discuss approval of 60, approving grant agreement for the law enforcement
Okay.
camera grant. Yeah.
So then we.
We need to do D.
We need to do.
Discuss approve resolution 6634, authorizing an ORC grant agreement for the LPR cameras. Motion.
Second.
Was that piggyback on this other one?
So, no, it doesn't. These are two different entities that applied for two separate grants. One was through the Illinois Attorney General's Office for the scope about. The second one was through the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standards Board. The second one was for $15,162, and that money will help offset our body worn cameras and two separate grants, two separate entities.
Good for that. Anything else? Tracy, please.
Commissioner Heatherington? Commissioner Moore?
Yes.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Now we got the presentation regarding the city's MS4 program.
Correct.
Before you start that, Brandon, we request a motion to approve that items E and F or D and E were approved
The flip.
in opposite order.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to item E before item D.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
And nobody would catch that. There would nobody know any difference.
Tracy,
Well, you're worse than Roxanne up there. Just kidding.
Mayor, I'd like to remind you that we record our meeting.
Roxanne, she's always correcting me up here.
While Brandon gets set up, I can just high level it, the board. Basically, our permit is going to get more and more strict each time it gets renewed. And this is going to be a requirement, starting with our stormwater permit that was put into place in August. I think August 1st of this year. Brandon will do this twice a year. It will be brief, but we really need to up our public education game. So this is one of the things we're going to do.
All right, well, thank you guys. I will try to be brief. Shouldn't take me very long, but obviously an important program, so I want to get to the details. So first, I will start with what is MS4. MS4 stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. MS4 program as a whole is a permit program administered through the EPA under the Federal Clean Water Act, which is essentially put in place for municipalities to help preserve water quality, prevent erosion, prevent pollutants from getting into our water system. MS4s, most municipalities are part of an MS4. You can also be part of a larger watershed group. Ultimately, if you exceed 50, there's a couple different cutoffs for the different phases of the MS4. It's all based on your municipality size. We are considered a small MS4 that comes with our own standards, requirements, things like that. An MS4 is an infrastructure system specifically that is owned by a state, county, city, town, village, or other public entity which discharges waters into the United States. It is designed to collect or convey stormwater separate from your sewer system. You can't have combined sewers. And that includes storm drains, pipes, overland ditches, detention basins, things like that. It is, again, it is not part of a combined sewer program, and it is not part of a sewer treatment plant. So we are talking specifically about stormwater, not sanitary sewer, sanitary water, sewer, things like that. The overview of our program that we are part of, the city is currently operating under, as Sonia mentioned, a previous permit that was effective from March 1st, 2016 through through February 28th, 2021. The IDPA at that time, usually those permits are good for 5 years, and then they renew a permit, come with new regulations, new requirements. That was administratively continued, so we are still operating under that permit. But a new permit was just released on July 8th, which is effective starting August 1st of this year, and will go through July 31st of 2030. We have 90 days from the issuance of the permits to apply for coverage under that MS4 program, which we will be working on. What I'm going to do today is kind of talk about the minimum requirements that we have under the current MS4 permit. And to be a part of the MS4 program, you have to have a stormwater management program, which the city already has. That information can be found on our website. It's a little outdated, but we are currently in the process of updating it and have to update that as part of the new permit. And mainly identifies 6 minimum control measures that the city has to meet to be compliant with that MS4 program. So a list of the minimum control measures are public education and outreach, public involvement and participation, illicit discharge detection and elimination, construction site runoff control, post-construction runoff control, and then pollution prevention and good housekeeping for municipal operations. So starting with the first minimum control measure, this is public outreach and education. The purpose of this is to educate the community about stormwater impacts and pollution. As part of the program, when we apply for permit coverage, we have to establish measurable goals that the city can attain to show compliance in any given minimum control measure. With the city back in 2015, 2016, as part of the new permit, what we established as our measurable goals were we would distribute educational materials to the community, which talk about the impacts of stormwater discharges, green infrastructure, pollution, things like that. We also hold annually a public meeting to inform the public, residents, council members, anybody who wants to attend is interested, about the MS4 program, which we are obviously doing now. The next minimum control measure is public participation and involvement. The purpose of this is to provide opportunities for the public to play an active role in our stormwater program and develop and implement some of these measures that we identify that we will be compliant with. The measurable goals, again, set by the city back in 2016, would have been annually assist in the organization and oversight of a community cleanup day, which more recently was the Keep Northern Illinois Beautiful Turtle Creek cleanup that just happened earlier this year. We also have established an email and phone contact for reporting any stormwater-related issues on the city's website. That's under our stormwater page, and specifically, I think, Public Works and Sewer. All phone calls and emails, I believe, go to Jeff currently. And we put that information on the website, and then also the police department assists in a medicine drop-off drive. Obviously, we don't want residents to be dumping medicines down our sewers, down our drains. That pollutes our waterways, so that is something that the police department has done for quite a few years now. The next minimum control measure is illicit discharge detection and elimination. The purpose of this is to develop a program to detect and remove any non-stormwater discharges. Essentially, this is anything that is not supposed to be in the storm sewers. We have a process in place to figure out where that's coming from, and an ordinance in place to where we can enforce and get them to remove those issues, clean up the pollutants, things like that. In this section, the measurable goals that the city set for themselves was update our city storm sewer maps and upload that information to WinGIS. Most of our storm sewer currently is on the Winnebago County GIS system. We do have gaps in that, which we're working on currently to getting those uploaded. We will and have developed and updated an existing illicit discharge and elimination program. If you go into our city ordinances, you can find that program. The city staff also has to document any stormwater trainings that they go to and keep record of any illicit discharges that they find. We have had a few this year, happens pretty much every year, but we have to document when we notice those and follow up with what our solution to that problem was. We also have to conduct annual dry weather screenings of storm sewer outfalls to identify non-stormwater discharges. So basically, this is the streets department. Any storm sewer that ends up running to creeks, rivers, detention basins, things like that, have to be inspected during dry weather to see if there is anybody dumping things into our storm sewer that shouldn't be there. We also have to investigate those discharges and determine the source and document those results. That can be done in a couple different ways. Televising is the thing that the city does. We send a camera up the line, figure out where the discharge is coming from. And then finally, routinely review and update the city's stormwater ordinance, which we are always doing, always enforcing, but it's always good to keep in mind things that we could update. Next measurable goal is construction site runoff best management practice. That's part of that. Sorry, I misspoke. Construction site runoff control. The purpose of this is to implement procedures to reduce pollutants from construction activities, and then require erosion and sediment control practices for all of our contractors, complete inspections, and enforce our ordinance requirements. Measurable goals that the city set for themselves was routinely review and update in the city's erosion and sediment control ordinances, which tells us exactly how construction-related development is supposed to happen and how they can be compliant with our ordinance. We also review site plans for appropriate best management practices, so looking for things like silt fence and inlet protections, and basically all the control measures that you would see in a normal construction site. We make sure before they construct that they have a plan in place to actually implement those strategies. And then finally, we as a staff perform routine construction site inspection and enforce control measures. You may have heard this through talking. We are on top of this. We've had to shut down a few construction sites in the past few years. It's just something that we always have to do and will continue to do. We are having numerous issues, so staff is stepping up their game, and we're getting out there and completing those inspections more frequently. The fifth best management practice is post-construction runoff control. The purpose of this is after a site is developed to manage the stormwater from any new development or redevelopment project, and then implement permanent best management practices into the facility to reduce the amount of water running off, reduce the amount of pollutants that potentially get into our waterways. Most people will see these on the side of a road, side of development, detention basins, infiltration basins, things like that. Basically, anything incorporated into the development, we have to make sure that those are good and working after the site is constructed, not just during. The measurable goals that we set for ourselves for this best management practice was routinely review and update the city's ordinance to ensure construction sites have post-construction management practices, which we do. We require this of all developments. If you see any new development, you will go out there and likely see a detention basin on the site. We develop long-term operation and maintenance procedures for these developments as well to minimize pollutants into our right-of-way. A good example of this is dry wells, essentially. So if a parking lot has a dry well in it, it's a private dry well, we have to make sure that there's a maintenance plan in place to make sure that they are upkeeping those improvements that they make. We perform site plan reviews and require sites that disturb over 1 acre of land or they're part of a larger development project. We require them to secure an ILR 10 permit, which is an NPDES permit required through the IEPA. And then finally, we conduct periodic site visits for all construction sites after they've been constructed. This is usually the streets department driving by, checking on the development as it's progressing, after it's progressing, and making sure that their design and their procedures are being followed. And finally, pollution prevention and good housekeeping. The good purpose. Thank you. The purpose of this is to reduce stormwater pollution from municipal facilities and activities. So this is our own in-house, what can we do as a municipality to help prevent pollutants from getting into our waterways. A couple of measurable goals that the city set for themselves is we would distribute educational materials and complete training with our employees on best management practices and good housekeeping practices. We would also maintain and update plans for hazardous waste spills and proper storage and disposal of street sweepings. So our plan for hazardous waste spills, I believe we use the fire department and the Fire Chiefs Association, if I'm not mistaken, to handle hazardous spills, depending on what it is and how large it is. And then, Steve has a place where he takes his dumpings, whether it's a landfill or a site out of floodplain, out of a waste from, waterways, things like that. We've got a plan in place to properly dispose of those street sweepings. And the final requirement of the permit, final requirements, we have reporting and record keeping requirements. So as you will see, for the reporting, we have to submit annual reports by June 1st every single year, documenting how our measurable goals were attained, if we attained them, things that we can do to change them, update them, regulate them. We basically report on our own doings of this program. That reporting period goes from March to March each year, March 1st to March 1st, and then the annual report is then submitted the following June. As far as record keeping, we have to keep all records related to this for a period of 5 years, have to be available to the public, and there are also certain records that we have to put on the city's website for public viewing, and those would be the notice of intent that we submitted back in, now would be 2021, the stormwater management plan, and then also the annual reports and any monitoring data that come from illicit discharges. So that's a very quick overview of our MS4 program. If there are any questions, please let me know. Sorry to rush through this. I know you guys have a lot on your agenda. But please, if there's ever any questions, reach out to me, general public, council members. If you guys ever see anything that might be a potential concern for stormwater, please call me, call Steve, call Jeff, call somebody, because we have a duty to report on that and follow up on that to make sure that things are getting done properly.
I know a lot of people don't realize how powerful the EPA is, but they control almost everything we do in this town. They have their finger in every pie, I know that, because we're always writing reports or talking to them about something. Thank you, Steve, or Brandon, that was a great job. Anybody else? If not, we will move on to executive session. Discuss personnel issues, 5 ILCS 120/2C1 Illinois Meeting Act. Discuss pending litigation when and against affecting in behalf of a particular public body filed before the court administration tribunal, or when the public body finds action probable and imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the close of meeting as provided by 5 ILCS 120/2C1 11 Illinois Meeting Act. Your motion, move into.
Second.
All right, we're moving into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 5-0. But we're gonna have a executive session. We come out, we're done. So if you want to stick around or whatever.